with any sport you're talking about, the problem is with all TV that we got all these streaming networks, we got all these channels and all this other shit. You have more things competing against. When we were younger, right? It wasn't as excuse me. It wasn't as many things. First of all, how many people in your neighborhood did you know that had cable? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now it wasn't. Cable was still a novelty. I won't even say a novelty, but you had to be doing pretty decent to have cable. You know, I know we had cable like 1 month, and then next month it got cut off. You know, so it's kind of that inconsistency.
Shit, that happened to me when I was in college.
But the point is, growing up, it wasn't as much. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have all these distractions. So that's what all these networks and all these sports are struggling against. Because across the board, everybody's losing ratings. It's just some, even with the loss of ratings, can still put up decent numbers. The WNBA's problem is that when you're talking about watching basketball, I don't even know how we got on the subject, but I'll continue. The problem with that is people who want to watch a good basketball game, men or women, doesn't matter. They want to watch a good basketball game. So when you have the NBA where they're dunking and all that other stuff, and you watch a WNBA game, it is a definite difference. No matter how much they try to act like it's not.
So dunking is good basketball.
That's part of the game. That's part of the game.
So that's good basketball to you.
I'm not saying it's part of the game, right? That's like asking, well, is icing just the cake? No, it's part of the cake, though. It's part of the cake. When they have All-Star Weekend, what do? They have a skills challenge, a three-point shot, and a dunk contest.
A dunk contest that they always even say is nowhere near as good as it used to be. And what does Magic Johnson say? What does Magic Johnson say every single year? The dunk contest is coming back. He says that every single year. What is always the highlight, honestly, of the entire weekend? The three-point contest is more of the highlight.
Because you didn't see every dunk. Now, it's been great the last couple years.
Every three-point shot, too.
Exactly.
But it's a different thing, though, because
the skills competition is high now.
No, because the three-point contest ain't about creativity. The dunk contest is about creativity. So when you've seen people do a 360, after a while, the allure of a 360 is no longer what it used to be. Now, the last couple of years, when they had my man was Eric Gordon and then my man's
Zach LaVine.
Yeah, no, they made it exciting because they came and brought something different. So those years, it was like
Victor Oladipo as well.
His was cool too.
Point is, his was pretty good.
Three-point shot contest is more about skill as opposed to the dunk contest is more about creativity.
So,
but the point is, dunks. Even when at the end of the year when they do the highlights, most of those highlights are usually dunks. Dunking is a part of the game. I'm not saying it's the end-all, be-all, but what I'm saying is when you eliminate probably the most exciting aspect of it, then
dunking?
That counts against you.
Okay, so first, in-game dunking, for one, just is not as good as a dunk contest dunk. Secondly,
it depends.
No.
It depends, especially if you dunk on somebody.
Most in-game dunks.
You dunk on somebody.
Most in-game dunks are not that good. What's good about the WNBA game is exactly how you talked about with skill. Though it's all skill. Like those women it's all skill because like
athleticism all the time.
Because they don't have the same athleticism to be able to jump over somebody.
You're talking about the entertainment business, and that's what people forget. We're talking about the entertainment business. That's what it is. That's why they're getting paid the money that they're getting is because it's entertaining.
But I'm using this to make my point and bring it back to sneakers.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm using that comparison to how you just said, like, you know, nobody's really watching the WNBA like that. Why are they not watching it? Because you said it's not as exciting, right?
Right.
It's not as entertaining. So couldn't the same be said about how it is in sneakers, where the attention span is so short, where maybe it's not as entertaining?
That's why I go back to what Guru said before. You can do both. You can appeal to both sides. Nobody's saying that you got to pick one of the other.
But you just said.
Because I give you an example. When they come out with the retro Jordans, like the OG Jordans, right? You got the commercials in the bar. Drop those commercials.
But if I have a loud enough fan base, if I have a loud enough audience, an audience is loud enough to basically say that this isn't what they want. But
nobody's ever said that. Nobody's ever said this ain't what they want. They just have never done it. They've never done it. They don't have to. Like a lot of times, the problem is they got to a point where they didn't even have to market this shit. Let's be honest. When's the last time you seen a commercial for a sneaker?
Yeah, I was gonna say the Zion.
Right, and how often do you?
They actually they somewhat pretty.
Zion before that was Kai, and before that was LeBron.
But they've gradually, because I remember back even
a couple Steph Curry commercials.
Because even
Nike,
even when LeBron came, there was consistently commercials. And anytime he had a new shoe, you had the LeBrons, you had the Kobe versus LeBron, the puppets.
The puppets.
They still consistently, but gradually, you stop seeing any commercials at all. Why? Because they know they can just float a picture to a blog, and everybody's gonna fucking eat that shit up anyway.
Why wait?
Kobe still was doing his though.
Well, why waste? Why waste the money then?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so the problem is, and that's why I'm giving them something that they don't even have to cost them nothing. If sneaker culture is primarily based on retros, right? Yeah, some of the new shit too, but primarily based on retros. Take the opportunity, especially when you're gonna drop an original, like when you drop an original Griffey, you drop those commercials. When you drop, I don't know when the last time they dropped a Bo Jackson, but if they do,
they did the Saquon Bo Jackson.
You know what I'm saying? Drop them Bo's Nose commercials. You got a million Air Jordan commercials. You got the 2s coming out. Perfect time to drop that commercial, which is one of my favorites when he's in the gym and just dunking. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that don't cost you nothing. The shit is already in the can. You've already paid for it.
Hold up, time out. If it's one commercial I wish they would drop, no, I don't think it was a commercial. I think it was that episode of, what was that, Martin? The one where it might have been a commercial, and it was Michael and his mom, and then his mom dunked the ball, but you could clearly tell it.
No, that wasn't a commercial. That was
what TV show was that?
No, it wasn't even a TV show. It was like some type of like local skit that they did in Chicago.
Can they just bring that back?
Just
So I
can clearly see the guy with the mustache.
Yeah, he had a Jerry curl.
I remember that.
Keep your eye on the rim and concentrate.
Like this. Like that?
No, like this. Like this. Like this. Like this, Michael. And now give it some razzle-dazzle.
I just find that funny, the fact that somebody really thought that they could get away with doing that.
No, that was a funny-ass commercial. I almost feel like they did it on purpose just because it was funny as hell. Like, they made no effort to, like, quickly edit, you know.
Oh, none.
None. Like,
yeah, let's get this guy with
they almost zoomed in on his face to let you know, like, yo, this is not his real mother. Yeah. But, because he was like, that's my mom at the end. Like, that's your dad, or whoever that is. Ain't your mama.
Don't do that.
But anyway, but no, like, with sneakers, right? Here's the thing. The whole, whatever we got going on right now within sneakers was predicated on sneaker culture, right? People like me and you who grew up on these shoes, got jobs, grew up, had our own money, wanted those shoes, started looking for them, and it created this whole culture.
For sure.
Behind the shoes, right? So, it's grown to wherever it is now. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't appeal to these new generation, because this new generation is going to take the baton and take it wherever they're going to take it, right? It's like a marathon, right? You hand it off, and, you know, wherever they take it, right? I'm not saying that the brand should not, on some level, cater to whatever these kids' wants and needs are. But what I'm saying is...
But they create what their wants and needs are.
Huh?
They create what their wants and needs are.
Not necessarily, because here's the problem with... So here's the problem with the marketing strategy, right? And this goes for any corporation. There used to be a time where you reach a certain age, and then you just age out. You know, then you get a family.
Yeah.
You no longer stick with your hobby or with your passions because you just get older. And, you know, back in the day, like if you was into music and you was trying to be a musician, you got to a point where it's like, you know, I got to feed my family. You sell the guitar or whatever musical instrument you played. You're not as into the music anymore because you got to work all these hours, all this other shit, right? And you gradually fall off from that passion. And you maybe, you know, hopefully your kid picks it up and you're able to live vicariously through them. Now what you're seeing is you're seeing people stick with their passions. You got people still playing video games in their 40s and 50s. You got people still collecting into their 40s and 50s. Shout out to Jumpman Bostic. You know what I'm saying? So you got people sticking with their passions where they used to fall off. And so that was usually the marketing strategy, because these kids are sticking with this and they're basically the consumer. We're going to focus on them. Problem is, we're still here. We're still spending as much money, probably even more, because we have the job. I don't have to ask my mother and father for the money. I have my own money to spend. You know what I'm saying? So that's the problem with the marketing, and that's why there needs to be a shift, because what you're doing is you're alienating an entire demographic of people who are still spending money at a high clip. People my age are still buying shoes every Saturday. Maybe not Nikes anymore, but they're buying the New Balances and the Asics and all this other shit, which is what Nike was afraid of. So my point is, you got to adjust your whole strategy. This is why I said you can do both.
Well, this is my question then. How, because I feel like I know the answer.
Yeah.
But I want to ask it anyway. How would you suggest that they take care of both sides?
Well,
one, you got, like I said, we already said you got a group of people whose job it is
That's
to
real simple.
like, utilize them.
Make shoes in an adequate amount. That is it. That is it.
Which I knew that's what was gonna get said, but
make enough Travis Scotts where people have a fair shot at getting them. Make enough Barclays that the resellers ain't buying all the size runs, and like it's like just make adequate enough pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that every shoe has to sell out, because how did you get through the 80s and the 90s?
Thank you.
All those shoes didn't sell out.
Man, that's the organ music. Where's the organ?
like you know.
But see, that's one of those things. Was like me personally, just I would like to be able to ask them that, because I want to understand what is the business, what's the business strategy. Because that's my thing, is I don't understand what their business strategy is, because I agree the goal would be you can satisfy both sides by you can make enough product. The product does not cost that much money. Supply and demand. The demand has gone up, increase supply.
But see, they living in this false pretense of we gotta manufacture the hype. And if the moment we give to me, because remember when they started off by making a bunch of Jordans, and that's why I asked you earlier, when was the last time, or when we grew up, when did you ever hear, sitting like ducks, or these shoes still sitting? We didn't, right? Nike, was it a couple years ago, said we're gonna make more shoes, Jordans. They did for a while, and what happened? People go on YouTube. You got these YouTubers. You got these shoe-tubers. Oh, they're still sitting like ducks. Making it sound bad, like this shoe ain't hot. Like, because
but they also did it in a year where it wasn't the most desirable product.
No, I'm not saying
Marvin the Martian Sevens. Like,
I agree.
That was.
Well, it's a combination of all that. I'm going down the list. I think it starts with the influencers, because let's be honest, that's what this generation is influenced by, right? If you got enough, if you got a certain,
it's clout. We can say it before.
If you got a certain
clout generation,
if you got a certain influencer personality saying it, and it becomes
gospel.
Yeah.
Play the organ music.
Or if enough people, right? Or if enough people fall in line with it, people tend to kind of fight. Like, honestly, this generation, I know we had our moments of being sheep, for lack of a better.
Oh yeah, no. This generation is worse.
It's like if you get the right person and stuff, they could sell shit on a stick.